Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday's celebration, where we are celebrating your spiritual magnificence. And please welcome our amazing Big Love Band to help us get going this morning.
We are the Big Love Band. We're going to bring you some love this morning. So please stand and sing with us and jump with us and dance with us. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This loving, this loving, this loving day. This loving, this loving, this loving day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This loving, this loving, this loving day. This loving, this loving, this loving day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This loving, this loving, this loving day. This loving, this loving, this loving day.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we just want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are so very welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine and that you can change your entire life by how?
Changing your mind.
Yes. And I always like to say, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. We love studying spiritual stuff here and learning the truth. So please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for more information on our upcoming events, to submit a prayer request, or to send us your comments and questions, and also so we can get to know who you are and where you are and be in touch with you. And so we're going to have another great song, so give our Big Love Band some more love.
Here's how we talk about how I wanted to change the world, but I always left it up for someone else to do. Then I finally realized I need to take a stand, and that by changing my thinking, I could change my life, and that's how I could change the world. So let there be peace
and you guys all stayed standing. So this is the part of the service where we bestow a blessing on everyone. So let's warm up those hands. And for any of you at home, you can send them back out through the waves through us, or even turn them on yourselves or anybody else in the room. And I invite you to please repeat with me. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center.
Maybe it says feeling tomorrow's shine because it's cloudy out today. Is that what it is?
Crazy dream. It's been so long now. Thought it was real. As I awaken, my eyes can see all of the beauty that's there for me. Feeling tomorrow shine. Feeling tomorrow shine. Got a brand new life ahead. Lord knows I'll be fine. 'Cause I'm feeling tomorrow shine. Well, I'm still reeling from this crazy dream. Starting to realize that nothing's as it seems. It's like I'm walking on brand new feet. It's like I'm driving down a brand new street. Feeling tomorrow shine. Feeling tomorrow shine. Got a brand new life ahead. Lord knows I'll be fine. 'Cause I'm feeling tomorrow shine. But I feel my life, it seems, based on illusions from some crazy dream. When it all falls to pieces, I awaken. I've come to realize I've not been forsaken. 'Cause I'm feeling tomorrow shine. Feeling tomorrow shine. Got a brand new life ahead. Lord knows I'll be fine. 'Cause I'm feeling tomorrow shine. Feeling tomorrow shine. Got a brand new life ahead. Lord knows I'll be fine. 'Cause I'm feeling tomorrow shine. Feeling tomorrow shine. Got a brand new life ahead. Lord knows I'll be fine. 'Cause I'm feeling tomorrow shine.
I like that song. I've never heard that one before. Should we give the Big Love Band another nice round of applause? They do a A fine job indeed. I'm John Coriel, one of the spiritual practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, Florida. And we have a reading for this morning from the book that Eileen Caddy wrote, Opening the Doors Within. It says, always remember that you have to do your part. You have to put first things first. As you do so, you open up all doors. And spirits able to work wonders upon wonders in and through you. Without channels, spirit's work is held up. So give your all to spirit, withholding nothing, and forget the self completely in your giving. Get into rhythm with life, into rhythm with spirit, and flow with ease and grace. Waste no more time thinking about it, but do something about it now. Ooh, okay. So we're going to do something about it right here and right now, and that is to turn and take this into prayer. And just knowing that wonderful things are happening. Spirit is present here within each one of us, and we know that this day is just sparkling. This day is just sparkling, irregardless of that weather out there. We just know that God is right here where we are, is what we are. And we just say thank you for that. And knowing this day is just blossoming forth in a most magnificent and beautiful way. And we just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And as we know that to be so, together we can say, and so it is. And right now, it is my pleasure to introduce our interim minister, Reverend Gregory Toole. Welcome him.
Good morning, spiritual community. So good to be with you this morning. What a great service we're having this morning. Big Love Band is just rocking it. Thank you, John. Thank you, Linda. Thank you to all of you for being here and participating today and creating such vibrant spiritual community. I just love how this spiritual community is flourishing and thriving and stepping forward in so many ways. The Big Love Band and we were visioning together this week. We're going to vision a couple more times for the Big Love Band and just kind of continuing to reach into Spirit's highest vision for the Big Love Band and the music here at Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral, and how beautiful it is. Wonderful ideas come forth, and so it's beautiful to catch not only a common vision, but also a higher vision. And so that's what we're doing together. And so good to be here with you this morning to talk on the subject cause and effect. So many times we're really dealing with effect. We're really dealing with appearances. We're really dealing with what's out there, as opposed to dealing with what is at the root cause of things. At a physical level of effect, metaphorically, if we look at like a puddle of water on the floor, right? And we go and we mop up that puddle of water. Next day we come back, there's another puddle of water there. Mop that up. The next day we come back, there's another puddle. And of course, what we know is we never really investigated into the source. You know, where did this water come from? And the moment we go do that and we find, oh, a pipe is leaking, and we fix the leaking pipe, we no longer have to deal with that effect. Well, the same way we have cause and effect in the physical world, we have cause and effect from the spiritual to the physical, and we call that first cause. First cause being spirit or principle. And so today I want to talk a little bit about setting a new cause in motion. You know, because we have to so many times when we're dealing at the level of effect, it's just like that puddle of water that would just keep on reappearing. Things keep reappearing in our lives, and they get more complicated because one effect leads to another effect leads to another effect. And then it seems confusing, and it seems chaotic, and it seems really complicated, you know. But when we can get down beneath the surface level, because we know in science of mind that our thoughts and our beliefs and our vibration are what really create that which we see, right? There's a principle behind that, an invisible principle that is constantly responding, a creative medium, if you will, that is constantly responding and corresponding to our beliefs, our thoughts, where we put our energy, what the vibration is that we live in. And so we have to get beneath the surface to that. And when we talk about first cause, we're talking about a higher principle. We're talking about reaching into some higher principle, like oneness is at the core of our teaching. Oneness, that all of life is one. And so, if nothing else, if we can't discover what the higher principle is, we can go to oneness. We can go to God is all there is, right? That all of life is one and connected, and I am connected, and you are connected into infinite intelligence, infinite power, infinite love, the presence of love. So when we know that, right, we can ask ourselves, then what is all the rest of this that I'm seeing in my life, right? So we go to that principle. And Ernest Holmes says in the Science of Mind textbook, just so far as we depend upon any condition, past, present, or future, we are creating chaos, because we are then dealing with conditions or effects and not causes. So once we're out there meddling in the world of effects, we're not really dealing with what is the original cause of that, which is mental and spiritual and emotional. And so we have to dig a little bit below the surface. We have to see what's going on. Let's take an example, and it's something that is very relevant in our world today, where there's so much partisanship and so much division and so much mistrust. If we go beneath the surface of that, right, which is a lack of trust, when we go beneath the surface of that, we could see that there would be separation. We can see that it's like, oh, well, if you're of a different political party than me, or if you have different beliefs than me, then I can't trust you. And that's totally going into separation. That's totally going into you are separate from me, when in reality, we are all one, and all of life is one. Also, faith, right? This knowing that we're all connected and we're all one. And when I think of trust, I think that all I really have to trust is the presence of spirit in me, right? So when we go from that level of first cause, where I know that there's an infinite intelligence in me, an infinite wisdom in me that is constantly guiding me and supporting me, then I don't have to be figuring it out, one by one all the time, every day. Like, oh, can I trust this person? Oh, I can trust this one. I can't trust this one. Oh, well, that person, now they did something, so I'm not sure if I can trust them. Oh, well, now I think I can trust them, because that's dealing in the level of effect, and it's like the constant trying to figure out like who I can trust and who I can't trust. But because I trust in divine guidance in me, because I trust my own divine intuition that is always guiding me and leading me, I don't have to worry about figuring out, can I trust this one and can I trust that one? I trust everyone and love everyone. And if I am to be guided away from someone where it says, love this one from afar, then I follow that guidance, right? But I'm not in that constant worry about who I can trust and who I can't trust, right? So we get into that world of effect, and the next thing you know, we've created a whole world for ourselves where we can't trust anyone, or we certainly can't trust people who are different than us, because who knows what they're about, right? But when we come to first cause, where we realize that all of life is one and connected, we realize that I can trust in this one, that I am safe here, because I am constantly guided, I am constantly supported, I'm constantly moved into right action, and I'm constantly moved away from anything that would not be good for me. This is a listening in, because the guidance is always there, but we might say, well, hey, I wasn't guided away from that. Well, we're always being guided. The question is that we listen, right? The one time, the one time in my life that I feel like I did not really tap in and listen, I almost had some danger, some real danger befall me. I won't go into the story today, maybe for another day, but it was a clear case of trusting without listening in, just blindly trusting. But kind of coming back to first cause, when we live our life that way, we don't have to be out there in the effect. We don't have to be worrying and dealing with all of that. And so therefore we can go in all of our relationships, whether it be friendship, intimate relationships, or community, and we don't have to be on guard, right? Because we've got this first cause that we've set in motion, that I am protected, I am guided, I am connected to all people, right? I live in harmony with all people. This is first cause that we start to set in motion. So we've got cause and effect. The cause is that which produces the effect. Let's talk about it in terms of prosperity and money, right? When we're dealing at the level of effect, let's just say in an example where someone is constantly trying to make ends meet, or they just barely make ends meet or fall short quite often, and then they don't fall short. And so in the world of effect, dealing with it level of effect, it's like, okay, well, I'll borrow some money over here, or I'll cut back on some expenses over here. And it's just constantly dealing with that level of effect, but it just continues. It perpetuates itself. It's self-perpetuating where again and again we keep experiencing the same thing. If we deal with it at the level of first cause, we start to set a whole new cause in motion. We start to set a whole new experience for ourselves in motion, because we have made the assumption that the effect is the truth, that the effect is the greatest truth that we can see. Like, this is just the way life is, right? I've had people say to me, well, everyone has difficulty with money. And it's kind of like, well, no, not everyone has difficulty with money, or they say everyone has had difficulty with money. And that's not true either. We've all, money is an interesting thing, and certainly money is something that people have probably more energy around than most other things. But we start to make the world of effect and the world of appearances and what we've experienced thus far, we start to make that the greater truth, as if that is first cause, whereas that is secondary and tertiary and on down the road cause. Like one effect creating another effect, creating another effect, like a domino effect, right? Because we're building on these secondary and tertiary causes as opposed to going to first cause. So what would first cause be in this case? First cause would be that I live in an abundant universe, that I have an infinite source right at the center of my own being, and that source is constantly giving and never withholding. That's a greater truth, right? So when I start to live from that truth and start to practice that truth, now I'm setting a whole new cause in motion that starts to transcend all of these effects, right? Because it starts to create something totally new, right? So it's not like, oh, well, now I'm short again. What am I going to do this time? And then this is happening and this is happening. No, it starts to set a whole new cause in motion where the quality and the content of our life is totally different than what it was before, based on living in the effect and living in secondary and tertiary, et cetera, cause. So we go to first cause. I live in an abundant universe. Spirit within me is my unlimited, infinite source, and it is ever giving and never withholding from me. We start to live in that vibration, in that belief system, in that knowing. We start to create a whole different life for ourselves. You see how first cause transcends all of these conditions and circumstances and things out in the world. So today we're talking about going back to first cause. Not all of these, there's cause and effect in the world, but those are secondary and tertiary causes, right? And there's certainly things we have to deal with in the world, but let us not think of those at the level of cause. Those are effects. Anything we can experience with our five senses, or however many senses we have, is in the world of effect. And the principle, the higher truth, is in the invisible, but always operating. And so when we pause for a moment and step in and start to align with that higher truth, we truly do set a new cause in motion. Would you say with me this morning, because this is really the theme of what I'm really talking about today, would you say with me, today I am setting a new cause in motion? And will you say that with me again? I can't hear you, but I'm assuming you did say it. I'm trusting. I have faith. Say that with me again. Today, I am setting a new cause in motion. And because I like threes, let's do it one more time. This is a beautiful idea, truth. Today, I am setting a new cause in motion. Yes, we are that powerful. Sometimes we have used our power unconsciously to create all kinds of chaos and mess in our lives. Well, don't fret and don't even beat yourself up. You could say, I'm really powerful. It takes a very creative, powerful being connected to a powerful source to create all of this, even if it's mess and chaos, right? But then reclaim your power for good, right? Reclaim it and say, well, same way I created all this mess and chaos with that one power in me, I'm going to use that same power to create something more to my liking. And then we start to get to work and set a new cause in motion. We start to align with these higher truths that we know. If it's in the area of health, the higher truth is wholeness, harmony, and wellness, right? That there's an infinite intelligence working through us, and that which made us knows how to restore us, knows how to make us new, because it made us the first time around, that infinite intelligence, that infinite creative power, right? So we start to align with these greater truths, right? If we're having discord in a relationship, right? Harmony, that there is harmony here and there's oneness here. There's really not two of us, there's really just one. We're totally connected at the level of source, at the level of truth. And so we let go of every idea of separation, that someone's against us or we're against them. And we start to embrace this idea of oneness, start to embrace this idea of harmony. And so we start to align with that, and then we begin to bring something new in, right? As opposed to dealing with it at the level of effect, trying to fix it like, well, let's see, they said this, so maybe if I do that, and then maybe if I do that, and each of those effects creates another effect, sometimes unintended effects. So that level of causation at the physical level, right? Like Einstein said, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So we're constantly stirring the pot, as opposed to when we do first cause, it starts to transcend all of those conditions. It starts to create a whole new set of circumstances for us, more to our liking. Yes. Setting a new cause in motion today. Joel Goldsmith, in his book, God, Substance of All Form, said, you can begin to realize that the secret of having something consists first in obtaining the consciousness of it. Why? Because God is pure consciousness. And the moment you have the consciousness of something, the mind creates it. The moment you have the consciousness of something, begins to show up in your experience. Like when we talked about in the workshop I did recently when I was in Cape Coral, that once we have the consciousness for something, it must be made manifest. And we spent a little time talking about that word must. And of course, that word must connects to principle, that it's a principle. It's not just some airy-fairy idea, it's a principle. This law of first causation and effect means that it corresponds. There is a law that says that this creative medium corresponds to our thinking, beliefs, and vibration. What the quality of our consciousness is, it corresponds with that and produces in like kind. So we have to learn to refine our use of this law. And I've talked about, that my first job in college, I was a computer programmer. Out of college, I should say. My first job out of college, I was a computer programmer. And, you've got the hardware and you've got the software. The hardware, 99.9% of the time, works. And the hardware in this metaphor would be spiritual principle. And spiritual principle, we could even go as far as 100% of the time works. And the only question is how we are working it. Sometimes we start to think that hardware or the law, the principle is not working. But really, it's our learning how to work the principle, how to use the principle, which in many ways is quite simple, right? We begin to change our focus of attention, change where we put our energy, change how we're thinking about ourselves and how we're thinking about the world. Systematically, methodically, every day, moment by moment, we start to watch. Emmett Fox wrote a book called The 40-Day Mental Diet. And it's very simple, actually. The 40-day mental diet is you go for 40 consecutive days without going into negative thinking. And of course, you get to day one, maybe, and you've already had a negative thought, and you got to start over. So it has to be 40 consecutive days. And the beauty of this is, even though most people will probably stumble several times before they get to the 40 days, it brings a heightened level of awareness of where our attention is and where our thoughts are, where we're working against ourselves. Without that kind of thing, where we have a very intentional focus to really be self-aware, to really look at ourselves, to really pay attention to our self-talk and where we put our energy, where we put our attention. Without that, sometimes we're just unconsciously creating a life that we don't want to create. And that's why we think principle doesn't work. We're like, oh, I'm always positive. But when we really start to pay attention to our self-talk, we realize that we might not even be able to go a whole day without having thoughts and putting our energy in places that aren't productive for the kind of life we say we want to create. So this is what we're about today, setting a new cause in motion. And I wrote down 5 steps that I thought, what are the steps to doing this? What would be a simple practice, a simple way of doing this that we could put in place? And so here's what I wrote down as the 5 steps to setting a new cause in motion. 5 steps to setting a new cause in motion. Step 1, say to yourself, conditions have no power over me. Let's try that one time together this morning if you're willing. Conditions have no power over me. Yes. So that way it takes us out of the world of effects, right? It takes us out of that world and begins to put us into the world, into the mindset, into the consciousness of I'm working with first cause, not secondary cause, tertiary cause, which is really the world of effect. So we say, conditions have no power over me. Circumstances, conditions, effects have no power over me. And then the second step is to close your eyes and ask yourself, what do I believe about myself or the world that is creating this unwanted condition? What do I believe about myself or the world that is creating this unwanted condition? In other words, where have I stepped out of alignment with this truth that I know, these principles that we teach here in Science of Mind? And I don't want you to think too hard on this. It's not really a thinking activity. It's an intuitive activity where we listen in and allow ourselves to be guided. But if you don't get clarity right away, then simply go to the core principle, which is oneness, that I am one with infinite power, infinite wisdom, and infinite intelligence. So where am I not acting like that is true? Where am I not talking like that is true and believing like that is true and having self-talk like that is true? Where am I not energetically aligning with that being the truth? So you can always go back to the core principle of oneness, that I am one with infinite power, infinite love, infinite intelligence, infinite creative energy. And where am I not aligning with that truth? Right? So that can be our step 2. Step 3, ask yourself, what would I need to believe? It's similar to what we did in the workshop recently. What would I need to believe and feel to set a new cause in motion? Which of course is, I align with a higher truth of, let's say, abundance, or let's say harmony, or let's say wholeness. And so which one of these higher ideas would you need to align with in terms of your belief, your self-talk, your energy, your vibration, how you're living your life, where you align with that in every aspect of your being? What is that higher truth that you're being called to align with? Step 4 is to begin to put that in place, to enter into that new state of being, to speak an affirmation that represents this greater truth. So you speak it as the truth for yourself. I am abundant. I live in an abundant universe. I am whole, perfect, and complete. Whatever it is, keep it really simple. And then begin to enter into the vibration of that. Don't just say the words rotely, as we know, that's not really going to do very much, right? We have to kind of enter into the vibration of it. We have to enter into it energetically. What does it feel like? What would I feel? What would my life be like? What would it feel like for me if this were true for me right now? And then that's the vibration that you want to live in. You want to live in that feeling. You want to live in that feeling tone. So while you're doing the affirmation, enter deeper and deeper and deeper into that feeling tone, just like an actor would get into character, right? They would get into it. They would really study the character and say, what would this character do in this situation? And how would they be? And then they step into that. And the greatest actors literally embody the character. And that's what you get to do. You get to say, who do I want to be and what do I want to experience? And then let me step into character. Let me step into that vibration. Let me step into that thought pattern. Let me step into that way of being and doing. And then step 5, write it down. Write this affirmation down that you've come up with and write down what it is that you're stepping into in a feeling sense. And then similar to Matthew Fox's 40-day mental diet, for 40 days consecutively, do this practice where you're stepping into this new truth, you're affirming it over and over again, and you're stepping into the vibration of it, and do it in the morning and do it in the middle of the day and do it before you go to bed. You know, as often as possible, that prayer without ceasing. This is a small investment if we're really dealing with this chaos and this level of effects that perpetuates itself over and over again. And we say, wow, if I could just be free of that. If I could just have a life with so much more abundance where I didn't have to worry about money. If I could just have a life where my health and my body, just felt good. If I could just have a life where I could live in harmony with people around me, right? This is the payoff here, the value in just taking this time to do 40 days. 40 days set a new cause in motion. So final affirmation from me today. Let's say together again, today I set a new cause in motion. Yes, the answer is yes, right back to you. This is my invitation to you this day, this week, and for this lifetime. Thank you so much for listening, and let us turn within for prayer. And so we know together right now that there is only one life. There is only one power and presence, one infinite activity of spirit ever unfolding through and as all of its creation. This one life, intelligence, power, presence is the very life that's living through and as me and through and as everyone who is listening and watching and through and as everyone that concerns us. Every person, a divine expression of that one. And so it is in this consciousness of oneness that I speak this word and declare that for all who are saying yes right now to setting a new cause in motion, that the answer is absolutely yes, and that all that is needed, that the guidance, all the guidance of awareness and clarity and right action moving through each one and around each one, that each one is in the flow of perfect right activity, stepping into this greater yes, this greater idea, this new cause that is being set in motion. And so I know that each person is supported fully in that intention, and therefore I know it is already done in the mind of God. So I am just so grateful. I release it to that immutable law, that creative medium only knows to say yes. And I know that it is done just as I have declared, touching and agreeing all who are here. Great gratitude, I let it be. We ground it, we create it, we align with it together with the words, and so it is. And so we step into our conscious giving time, and if we're working on abundance, this is a great time to pay attention and peek up, right? To say, okay, I'm working on abundance. I'm wanting to create more, I'm wanting to be more abundant. Okay, so how am I in the giving department, right? Because as Goldsmith and many others said, it all starts with the giving. Uh, it, it's it. Um, Goldsmith says, "Let infinity flow out from you, uh, and 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 the bread that you cast upon the waters earmarked for return back to you." So let's get into the consciousness of this giving, recognizing that there's a principle of law of circulation that we're working with here, talking about first cause and setting something new in motion. So if we're wanting to be more abundant, then let us pay attention to this law of circulation. And so let us thank you, by the way, for I'm preaching to you here. I'm continuing to preach here. Thank you for all the ways that you give to this community. And the community is thriving and moving forward and stepping into its greater yet to be. And that's because of all of you and your generosity with your time, your treasure, your talent. Thank you so much. And we have so many ways that we can give back to our spiritual community that we receive so much from. One is you can text your donation 239 320 3820, or you can send your contribution through PayPal at cslcapecoral.org, or just go to the website, cslcapecoral.org, and hit the donate button there. So many ways to give, or you can just go right to the mail, to the post office, write a check and put it in the mail to Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida, 33990. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You can also, everything you buy, if you enroll with Amazon, with the Smile program, anything you buy, percentage of that goes to the center. So many ways that we can all prosper here together. So for those that are in person, we have some branded vessels near the sliders where you will be exiting. And for those online, we've just given you all kinds of options for giving as well. And so let us say our affirmation together. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of the center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. And so it is. And so we just bless all of these gifts, knowing that they go forth to prosper the center, to serve the world in the great ways that the center is serving the world, the ways that we give back to local organizations, the ways that we're going to start working with some local organizations, just all the ways that we touch lives and transform lives. And by offering the Science of Mind teaching, lives are changed here. Thank you for the ways that you give and contribute to that. I know that these gifts are blessed and go forth and contribute to all of that, creating a world that works for everyone and allowing everyone to realize their spiritual magnificence. Peace and blessing.
Okay, I get to trust now Cassie to change the slides for me. So please check your email, pick up a flyer in the lobby, or visit our website at csoral.org to view and register for any of the upcoming and classes and events that I will be your human invitation for today. Friday, February 25th, 7 to 9:30 p.m. Join our very own Ralph. What a treat. Along with others for a songwriting circle, concert, listen, and songwriters perform original material. How much fun does that sound? And share stories about how they were written. That's my favorite part. I've heard some of Ralph's stories about his songs, and that is worth the ticket for the storytelling alone. So please do join us for that. And we are bringing back our movie night. We used to have so much fun doing that. So join us on Saturday, February 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. as we host a special movie night honoring Black History Month. Movie is still being determined, So watch your email or check your calendar for updates. And who knows, maybe you can email in a suggestion too. And this is a friendly reminder that our potluck is the last Sunday of the month. So come break bread with us following Sunday celebration on February 26th, and just to hang out and have a wonderful time. We have great potlucks here. So we are getting ready for our annual meeting, which is March 13th, following Sunday celebration. We have one vacant position in the Leadership Council to fill. So if you are interested, please step up and speak up with LC member, or check your email for the information and the application to apply. And they're a fun group, and they do lots of good work. So I encourage, if that's of interest to you, to please do that. Our food drive is ongoing, and we really appreciate your drop-offs of non-perishable donations on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Wednesdays during midweek tune-up, or Sunday mornings. We appreciate your continued support, and I absolutely know those people receiving it do as well. Don't leave without your 1-minute miracle today. Practitioners will be available for prayer immediately following service. We'll be standing up here in the front, and we just love to pray. And now I invite you all to stand with me as we stand in the light. This is our time where we take the possibilities and the potentialities and look away from the effects into first cause, as Reverend Gregory was talking with us about today. So I am standing in the light for this amazing Centers for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, for our new minister and all the activities around bringing that into form with the ease of grace. Standing in the light for Ken and Mary. Standing in the light for our beloved Danielle. Standing in the light for Melissa. Standing in the light for Tricia. Standing in the light for Mary's perfect health. And I'm standing in the light for all the unspoken prayers. And I invite you to include your very own name into this field of love and light. Linda. And so how good it is to come together. So grateful for this day. So grateful for the liquid sunshine that helps everything grow. So grateful for this beautiful center and this gathering and our celebration here today. And just recognizing that this day is another, as I like to say, 5G day, great, grand, glorious, good God day. For I absolutely know it has been so since the beginning. That first cause that said, let there be light, and called to everything that it created good, is still good right here today as it ever was and shall continue to be. So I am so very grateful to know this and to anchor this with each one of you standing here today, as I know we get to go forth out into the world that has already provided everything that is needed before it is needed. We have that lifetime supply of air, that lifetime supply of food, and everything else that is needed. So for this and so much more, I am indeed eternally grateful, and I invite you to anchor this with me by saying those words, and so it is. Amen.
Peace that was meant to together in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous love. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you.
Have a great week, everyone.